Hey everyone, Tom Butwin here for Premier Guitar, and today I'm going to ask you to do something that you probably haven't done since you started playing the guitar, and that is to stop using vibrato, but only temporarily for some of the exercises in this video. And the reason why I'm doing this is because I noticed something in my own playing, and that is that I overuse vibrato. Vibrato is one of the coolest and most useful expressive techniques that you have on the guitar, but if you sit back and think about your own playing, my guess is, if you're like me, you're probably overusing it, or at the very least, not even aware of when you're doing it. And that, to me, is a missed opportunity. Intention with vibrato is going to be the goal of this video. So the first exercise is going to be very simple. Grab your guitar, and I want you to play this elementary, familiar melody, but with no vibrato whatsoever. That's relatively easy to do because I think this melody dates back to, if you took piano lessons when you were younger, or maybe it was one of the first things you played on the guitar. And let's be honest, quite frankly, Twinkle Twinkle Little Star doesn't need vibrato at all. So I don't think the temptation is there as much as it will be in the next exercise to use vibrato. So the second exercise is where things are going to get a little bit more difficult, I suspect, because it was more difficult for me. And in this, what I want you to do is try to improvise a lead line or a solo over this backing track, but use absolutely no vibrato at all. None. Now, I don't know if you can tell, but that was a huge struggle for me to do. I felt like I was caged in. I felt like I didn't know what to play because this technique that I honestly overuse was stripped away and not an option for me. I was so tempted to use it that I was distracted by that fact that I couldn't use it. Now, I want you to try to do the same thing. I'm going to let the track play right now. Grab your guitar, improvise something over this, and just notice how difficult it is to not use vibrato. So, did you struggle in the same way that I struggled? I would suspect that some of you did. Now, maybe you are just this Jedi mind master where you can shut it off like a faucet. I'm not like that. If you are, please let me know in the comments below. If you struggled with it, let me know in the comments below too, because I think everybody can benefit from it. Now, before I play an example of taking the training wheels off and allowing myself to use vibrato again, let's talk about a few different styles of vibrato and maybe what it's doing, and then when you would want to put vibrato on a note. So vibrato is just very simply a guitar player to guitar player specific thing. If you watch people play, people do it in many different ways. Some people do like that B.B. King style shake. Some people do the violin, which is a little bit more subtle. You've got the Clapton-ish, and anything in between. The only thing I would say as a guide for when you are playing vibrato is understand that if you're not intending to bend the note out of tune, don't do it. Be more subtle with it. You can get into some wild fluctuations, which are kind of crossing over into bend territory. And now if that's what you want to do, great. But if you're simply just trying to use vibrato in the traditional sense, be careful not to bend the pitch too far outside of the note that you're playing. The other thing that can be really cool with vibrato is playing it in time with whatever it is that you're playing. Think of it as like a tap tempo on a vibrato or tremolo pedal. That's an option sometimes. If you're playing a song, you would tap that in and make sure that the tremolo that's happening on your pedal is in time with the song. Do the same thing when you play a note. Play it in time with whatever it is that you are playing with or against or whatever the case may be. Now, it's not going to be exact, but just bear that in mind. So, when to use vibrato? Now, vibrato, I like to think of it as a singer would use vibrato. And a lot of times, singers use vibrato to help with intonation. And that's not necessarily what you're doing on the guitar. But the other time singers use vibrato is to add expression or intensity to something that they are singing. And you can do that as well with the lack or absence of vibrato. So a note with no vibrato, it's got a lot of tension to it. And you're like, what's going to happen? Where are we going? You want it to resolve. So as a singer, what sometimes you'll do is you'll sing a note, straight tone. And then on the tail end of it, you add some vibrato. You can do that on the guitar as well. So the other thing you can do with vibrato is add intensity to a note by throwing vibrato on the entire thing. It also helps with sustain if you're trying to hold a note for a longer period of time. So it's not going to be a one-size-fits-all answer for you as to when you should use vibrato, but as you construct a solo or a melody, think about the opportunities in the bare melody without any vibrato as to where you can add it that would actually make a positive difference instead of just adding it on every note. So we don't want to go to either extreme. We don't want to use no vibrato. We don't want to use vibrato on every note. But depending on what you're playing, that is where you're going to be able to find that happy medium for using it in an effective and impactful way. Now, let's grab your guitar again and attempt to play something with vibrato, not on every note, but on notes that you choose that you feel like matter. So there you go. That was my attempt at doing that. I'd be curious to know how your attempt went. If you want to rewind the video and go play over the backing track now with your more intentional use of vibrato, make sure you do that. Also, make sure you're subscribed to the Premier Guitar YouTube channel so you don't miss anything in the future when it comes to lessons, rig rundowns, gear, and everything else that we have here on PremierGuitar.com. My name is Tom Butwin again, and I will see you in the next one.